Good afternoon and welcome to Capture. I'm Jordan De Los Santos. Our top story today is California's new legislation, Yes Means Yes. The bill signed into law September 28th will require colleges and universities to adapt a new standard for sexual consent. Katie Rich Creek has the report.
Yes Means Yes is the first bill of its kind. While some colleges have already adapted similar policies, No means no was still an accepted standard. As outlined by the legislation, affirmative consent means affirmative, conscious, or voluntary agreement to engage in sexual activity, leaving the responsibility with each party to ensure they have the affirmative consent of the other.
From my understanding, before, if you were saying no, and vocally saying you did not want to be part of this, if you then became silent, the court can then say, well, then you were giving your consent. So the fact that this has now changed, where you have to actively be saying yes, and they can't use that against you in court anymore, I think is such a good way to protect the victim. And I think that's very, very important.
1 in 5 women are predicted to be sexually assaulted before graduation. With APU's current undergraduate enrollment, this would mean more than 800 women would experience sexual assault.
I think it's super cool to see how government is seeing that this is a prominent issue on college campuses, and I think if anything it raises awareness that the amount of students that are sexually assaulted isn't accurate to how many are actually reported. So I hope that this is a bill that encourages students to speak up and get the needs that they need to be met, and hopefully get the appropriate care and resources for this big issue.
Current resources on campus include a whistle program, a rape aggression defense course, and after-hours campus safety escorts. For more information, visit ca.gov. Gospel Choir kicked off a new year with their first concert of the semester. The night featured music from Grammy Award-winning gospel artist Fred Hammond, as well as choirs and special guests from the surrounding communities. Aside from vocal performances, the choir hosted a silent auction and a bake sale to raise funds for a tour this summer. Gospel Choir will host its next concert November 21st in Munson Chapel. For the first time in our school's history, Azusa Pacific University is part of the NCAA Division II program. After completing the 3-year transition process, APU Athletics is now playoff eligible and has the ability to compete for an NCAA championship title. Recognizing the significance of this opportunity, Capture reporters Clint Simone and Aubrey Berry sat down with a few of the coaches to ask them what the change meant to them and what it meant for the future of APU's athletics.
Being in the NCAA is a huge step up for APU, and for the past couple of years, we've kind of been in this middle ground where the seasons were important, but they, in the end, really didn't necessarily mean much in terms of postseason and things like that. So the opportunity to get APU out on the national scene is a huge step and a huge thing for the university. Now
having the opportunity to make the playoffs, to reach for the Division II national championship, we believe that that is now on our radar. So that now sets another higher standard.
For me personally, having been here for a long time, it's a big step for us. A lot of work that went into it, years of preparation to finally, in hard work, to be rewarded.
We're at a whole new level, and you have to come out and grind every day and do all the little things correctly and properly, and there's not much leeway. That's what it's going to take to be a national caliber team.
We're going to different gyms, we're traveling to different locations, we're playing different opponents, so we're learning new schemes, we're being tested in many different ways.
Biggest goal is to see these young men grow into the type of champion people that God intends them to be. To take the laboratory of football and to be able to identify some deficiencies they have in their life, and also to complement the proficiencies they do have. They all have giftings and a variety of giftings, and so football is a training ground to bring out that mental toughness.
Thanks for that, Clint and Aubrey. The future is looking bright for our Cougar athletics. One of the big talking points on campus this semester has been the change in meal plans. With us today is Katie Rich Creek, who was involved in the change when she worked for SGA. Katie explains to us why these changes were made.
Yeah, so the conversation actually goes back to the 2012-2013 academic year when we received feedback from the student body regarding the current meal block model, which was being followed. And so the frustrations with that were they were limited to X amount of dining dollars and X amount of meals. And those meals included an entree, 2 sides, and a drink, whether it was lunch, breakfast, or dinner. And so essentially we wanted to give them a little bit more freedom. And so we proposed the adaptation of a point system, which would then allow them to kind of use that a little bit more like dining dollars or like money, so that they can go in during whatever time of day they'd like and get just an entree or just an apple or just a drink, or giving it a little bit more customization for the students.
Thanks, Katie. The first statewide plastic bag ban has been imposed right here in California. Beginning next July, plastic bags will be outlawed in grocery and convenience stores. The bill also prohibits stores from selling paper bags at the register for less than 10 cents. Although California is the first to impose a statewide law, more than 100 American cities have already outlawed them. In international news, pro-democracy protests are sweeping through Hong Kong. Authorities are responding with tear gas and pepper spray, while protesters, many high school and university students, protect themselves with umbrellas. Activists are protecting Beijing's recent decisions to screen candidates for the city's first ever election after initially promising open elections. Wednesday night, about 500 Hong Kong natives met in downtown Los Angeles to show their support for the demonstrations back home. Before we let you go, we tested some of your fellow students and even our very own journalism program coordinator, Dr. Brooke Van Dam, on how well they know the lyrics to popular songs. Take a look.
They try to copy my swagger, I'm on that next now.
I'm so 2008, you're so 2000 late. Got that boom boom pow, then you know something. And then I have no idea what song that is.
Call when I get sick. Who else am I gonna call when
I want it that way? Am I?
Your fire, your one desire.
I did it again. I played with your heart.
got lost in the game. Ooh, baby, baby, oops. You think I'm in love, but I'm sent from above. I'm not that innocent.
Thanks for joining us for this first edition of Capture. See you next time.